Welcome to the February edition of Northeast Journal. I'm your host, Joe Cullen. Coming up in the next half hour, we'll celebrate the reopening of the Lake Elmo Library. We'll meet the new superintendent of the White Bear Lake Area School District, and we'll go snowshoeing in Oakdale. All that and more is straight ahead on Northeast Journal. Hello everyone and welcome to the February edition of Northeast Journal. I'm your host Joe Cullen. Every month on Northeast Journal we give you an inside look at the people and places that make up the northeast section of the Twin Cities. The Lake Elmo Library was closed for a while in January as plans were made for this independent library to rejoin the Washington County library system. Producer Mary Klein was at the grand reopening celebration and has this report.
She loves books. She loves books. So any opportunity to come to a new library and check it out, we're like, heck yeah.
Young people under 30 are huge library users comparatively because we have internet, because we have Wi-Fi, because we have printing, which is an issue some people don't have at home. We now have video games you can order and have shipped here.
To it. There you go. There you go. That man. All right, here we go.
Yeah. I brought my sons with me. Been a Lake Elmo Library customer, patron for many years, and Washington County as well. So I had this on the calendar, wanted to show up and show my support.
Harry Potter created a whole new generation of readers who want books, graphic novels, books, teen books.
It looks really nice. They've got a little sensory box in the kids section for babies. So I like that they kind of appealed to a smaller crowd. You know, not a lot of people think about babies, but it's important for them too to get involved in the library system and start real early.
It was really a joint effort by a lot of people to get it up and ready in the 3 weeks. People still love their library. All their libraries. Libraries are popular things.
Let's travel over to another one of our area libraries for our next story. The White Bear Lake Area Historical Society had a special presentation called Cass Gilbert's White Bear Cottages. Producer Jeff Melcock was at the library in White Bear Lake for this presentation and gives us some highlights from the event.
He was born in Zanesville, Ohio in 1859, and when he was just a young boy, he and his family came to Minnesota, came to St. Paul. So in 1881, the Manitou Island Improvement Association was formed, and this is an aerial view of Manitou Island. This photo is from 1932 or so. There were 14 businessmen and their families who bought into the Island Association and built homes out there. Several of those homes were actually designed originally by Cass Gilbert and some of the other very well-known architects during that time period. This cottage was actually built on the island also. It was credited to Gilbert and was built for Walter S. Morton, who was the president of the St. Paul and White Bear Electric Railroad, which would very soon after this be developing Wildwood Amusement Park in the 1890s. So it was actually from this that they went on. Gilbert is actually credited as doing the dance pavilion and a couple other buildings at Wildwood in 1892. The James Skinner Cottage, interestingly enough, is labeled as at Acorn Point, house at Acorn Point. This is also on the island. Skinner was a dry goods merchant in St. Paul. So again, very common story. St. Paul business people who ended up wanting their summer homes out at the lake. This particular house also, like I said, does stand. It has been altered tremendously out on the island now, and so it doesn't look quite like this anymore, unfortunately, but it is still there.
It's time for a short break. When we come back, I'll be joined in the studio by the new superintendent of the White Bear Lake Area School District, Dr. Wyane Kazmierczak.
Some of today's veterans have a new battle to fight. It's unemployment.
The unemployment rate of today's veterans coming home from war is 12%.
That's twice the Heartland average.
Tribute to the troops and the armed forces are asking for your help. Hire today's veteran.
Visit positivelyminnesota.com/veterans.
Welcome back to Northeast Journal. At the beginning of this school year, Dr. Wyane Kazmierczak took over as the superintendent of the White Bear Lake Area School District after the retirement of Dr. Michael Lovett. And I'm happy to welcome Dr. Kazmierczak to Northeast Journal today. Well, thank you so much for stopping by today.
Yeah, thank you for the invitation, Joe.
And I think I got your last name right.
Right on.
As I was doing my research for this, I was like, I guess I should have figured out how to pronounce it, but luckily there's a handy video on the White Bear Lake School's website with kids trying to pronounce your name. They have a sheet of paper, and then you come on at the end with the correct pronunciations.
Yeah, we had some fun with it. There's some interesting pronunciations.
Yeah, I don't know if any of them got it right. A few may be close, but as we mentioned, Dr. Michael Lovett was the previous superintendent. He was on this program a number of times, and he retired, and then you were named as his successor. And so you must have started then, was it this summer, summer?
I started on July 1st.
And what was your background? Where were you before you came here?
Well, immediately before July 1, I was in the district as the assistant superintendent for finance and operations. So I had been in that role 3.5 years. So I was familiar with the district. Prior to that, I was in Moorhead as the assistant superintendent for 6 years. Before that, I was a superintendent in a small town in southwest Minnesota. And before that, I taught high school business education and coached and did that for many years.
So I'd imagine that must be kind of an advantage since you did have that experience here in the district instead of just coming in cold. You obviously knew how things worked, you know a lot of the employees and a lot of the students and families in this area.
Yeah, it was nice. It was a real advantage when you know the system. And then what we had going on at the time, the big project that I was working on as of July 1 was an operating levy renewal. And that is something I had been working on before I took over the position. So it was nice just to be able to transition into that role. Still working on something I was very familiar with. It allowed me to get out into the community and speak to different groups and get into all of our schools and talk to PTOs and staff members leading up to that election. So it was a nice transition. I was able to hit the ground running.
So, what are some of your initial thoughts? It's a little different. Usually I ask that of new superintendents, and part of it's just even getting used to the new city and if they've moved here, but obviously it's a little different for you. But, what are some of your initial thoughts being the superintendent as opposed to your previous position?
Yeah, well, we were talking before we went on the air about this week, and we had a weather event, and that was a moment of what reality really does hit when you're making a decision about whether or not to be in session. That's a moment when I would not have done that in my previous role. I would have certainly been involved, but ultimately making the decision on inclement weather days is a big decision. So that's an obvious one that's still I'm still thinking about from this week. Generally, though, it's a great community. My role before was finance and operations. My role right now has become more outreach and more connecting, and so I'm getting used to that role. I've been a doer my entire career, and now I'm transitioning into more meeting with groups and families, and it's a different relationship you develop with different constituencies. So we have a very active, very involved community. Our community supports our schools. I can point back to that operating levy renewal. We topped 80%. Yes, in support of that measure. So that was a nice way to start my career off. Just being able to get out into the community in that different capacity, and just feel the support of our community. It's really deep. It runs very deep. So
I've always noticed that there seems to be a lot of support. When you have these levies, not just of people whose kids are currently in school, but even people who either don't have kids or whose kids are long past the age that they're in the school system, but they still care and they know how important this district
Right.
is.
Yeah, to reach that level of support, there was support from parents, and there was support from retirees and people without children in the schools. There was broad community support. So we really felt that, and we're very much appreciative of that. Mm-hmm.
So other than that, what are some of your other kind of initial goals here during your first year?
Another thing we're working on right now is a new strategic plan. So that work is going on. We hope to present something to the school board in early April for approval. So the board will be in March, at the end of March, reviewing a draft plan of that. And that will then set our direction for the next several years. So that's an exciting opportunity as a new superintendent coming in to be part of a new strategic plan, and that basically becomes the work moving forward. And so I'm excited about that. We're running a really good process. We've had over 200 community members and staff members involved in the process. So it's been there's been a lot of people involved. There's a lot of great work taking place. So that's exciting. Another issue that will become more and more pressing is that we're actually growing considerably. Our enrollment is up, so we've got some projected growth that we're gonna have to manage that. So and within 2 or 3 years, there will be we'll have a shortage of classroom space. So we're gonna have to work through that and figure that out. So this spring we'll begin a comprehensive facilities planning process that will take probably up to a year, and then we hope to situate the district well for the next couple of decades in terms of facilities. So we've got, again, a lot of exciting things happening. It's a great place to be, great school district to be a part of.
I suppose that's a problem or I call it a problem, but a situation that's not unique just to your district, especially out this way. These suburbs are growing, and for the White Bear district, you have even all the way up to Hugo, which over the last 10, 15 years keeps growing, lots of families moving up there. So I suppose there is going to be that need to figure out,
right,
where to put all these kids.
Yeah. So, for example, we have about 8,600 students K through 12, and there's a good chance that in a decade we could be anywhere from 10 to 11,000 students. So even in the short term, even from last year to this year, we grew from about 8,300 students up to 8,600 students. So we grew by about 4% year over year, and that's a good sign. We have families moving into the district, either building new homes in the northern part of the district, or there's a lot of homes are turning over. The largest percentage increase from last year to this year at our elementary school, the school with the largest percentage increase was Lake Airs, which is one of our southernmost elementary schools. So what that tells us is that homes are turning over in the older part of the district as well. We're a good example. We moved into the district, my family, we moved into a home that didn't have any children, and we brought 3. So that's happening throughout our community, and coupled with the new housing developments that are going in the north, we're in a good position. And if we see 3 or 4% growth a year, that's a pretty good clip of growth. A more manageable clip is 1 or 2%. So we'll have to see how it looks going into next year. But we're definitely at a point where we'll run out of capacity within the next couple of years. So that's a good problem to have.
And as those numbers grow, I keep noticing, the student body is becoming even more diverse. And it seems like the district is being pretty proactive in how to best, help out, people that are kind of coming from all over.
Right. Yeah. That's a great point. We're growing and we're becoming more diverse. That's a pretty unique situation to be in, and we're pretty excited about that. We have approximately 50 home languages spoken other than English in our district, and again, we're excited about that. We put resources to helping all of our families, including the new families to the country, and we have cultural liaisons who've been working with families. Some families require extra support. Some students require extra support, and we, no matter what a student's needs are, we're trying to meet those needs.
And then, another, population within the schools seems like there's always, growing need for the special education services, especially as we've seen numbers rising over the last seveul years with autism, and I know there's lots of programs district-wide to help that community as well.
Yeah, we're very proud of our special education program. It's about 13 or 14% of our students have special needs, and in fact, we think we probably operate almost like a regional center. So if you think about a Moorhead or a Bemidji, surrounding districts, families will make choices to actually attend that regional center. We actually have a little bit of that phenomenon going on too because of our strong programming. So we actually draw families from the surrounding area because of our programming. So we were able to offer, whatever a student needs, we're able to offer the services that they need. And our Kathleen Daniels, our Director of Student Support Services, has just been top notch. She's developed quite a program over the years.
And it seems like, student achievement and, whether it be in academics or athletics, it's between the district newsletters I get or even just opening the local papers, seems like there's no shortage of, little kids to high schoolers that are achieving things, like I said, both in the classroom and, sports or, all the different activities that you offer.
Yeah. So a school district the size of White Bear Lake can offer a very comprehensive program to students academically and with extracurriculars, and so that's a real benefit of living in an area like this. You really can find your niche. Every student can find a way to succeed, and we're proud of a lot of our students do really well and they're recognized for it. But every single day there are kids that might not be recognized but are certainly really happy with the options they have and the direction they're able to take. They're able to follow their passions and their dreams, and we're able to provide that for them.
It seems like, all the different schools we work with here, we come across great kids, but, we cover a lot of sports and, performing arts, things like that. It just seems like just some really nice kids, from the, like I said, really little ones up to the big ones. Seems like, I suppose a lot of that may even just be, there seems like be a lot of family involvement in this district, but it just seems like you guys are churning out some, people that will be our future leaders, and that they're coming out pretty good out of the White Bear District.
Yeah, we hear that a lot. We hear there's a lot of pride in this school district. We hear from parents, we hear from former students about what a great education they received, and all the opportunities and the service opportunities to help give back to the community, and people take that with them as they go into the world. So yeah, we feel, I've said it already, but we feel pretty proud of what we're able to offer our students.
And how do you feel? I know this goes for a lot of our other school districts as well, but seems like an important thing is how well the administration even gets along with like the school board. Sounds like you guys have a pretty good relationship.
We do, yeah. We have a wonderful school board. We actually had a couple of longtime board members just decide not to run. So Janet Newberg and George Kimball, longtime supportive school board members, decided not to run. And we have two new board members, and Deb Lloyd and Jessica Ellison. They're going to be wonderful board members. They spent better part of a week at a Minnesota School Board Association meeting learning what it means to be a school board member, and so they're off and running. So we just have a very, very supportive school board. We work well with our employee groups. It's very much a team approach to delivering a quality education to our students.
Are there any other, specific goals you have for the next year or so, or anything else that you're excited about that is on the horizon?
Yeah, well, as I mentioned, I'm very excited about the strategic plan wrapping up. Again, that will dictate our direction, and so then my job will be to make sure that gets carried out, and I'm excited about that. This growth that we're experiencing is very exciting. There'll be challenges with that, but we look forward to that. So one of the things is there'll likely need to be another school in the northern part of the school district. So we'll have to figure out what that will look like, what that will be. In all likelihood, we'll need an elementary school at some point in the next few years in the northern part of the district. So that'll be a significant challenge as we figure all of that out. So those are really the main things going on. And it'd be nice to come back when we have our strategic plan and when we have a closer to a direction about where we're going with facilities long term. That might be a nice opportunity to visit again, because that will be a few months down the road, but we'll have a much clearer picture about where we're going in those two areas.
Definitely, yeah. We welcome you back anytime, and we'd love to talk about that. And I know how quickly time goes. I mean, before you know it, we probably will be someday out at a groundbreaking or ribbon cutting for a new school.
Yeah.
And we wish you the best of luck. We thank you so much for coming by. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we are out of time here?
Well, I'd be remiss if I didn't say go Bears, right? So again, it's thank you for the invitation. I look forward to getting to meet more and more people throughout the community. I live in the community, so I'm around, easy to access. You might find me at ball games or coaching youth basketball. I'm coaching my son's basketball team. So if residents reach out, I would very much appreciate that, and I'd like to get to meet more and more people. So
I imagine, there's no shortage of events. I know previous superintendents, including Dr. Lovett, we would often see him, but he would say that too, that was just part of his job. He's trying to make sure that he was getting to a wide variety of events.
Yeah, my challenge is I've got a family, and so they've got their things too, and so we're busy with that, and so trying to find that balance is key. But there's no shortage of events. Every single night could be taken up with something. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, great. Well, I'm sure we'll be seeing you around, and like I said, you're welcome back anytime. Thank you so much for stopping by today.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. And it's time for another short break. We'll be right back with more of Northeast Journal in just a minute.
Extra DWI enforcement is now being served on Minnesota roads. Don't be what you drink.
Welcome back to Northeast Journal. Snowshoeing is a popular recreational activity during the winter months. A great place to go snowshoeing is at the Nature Preserve next to the Discovery Center in Oakdale. We rented some snowshoes there to see what it's like. Check it out.
It's our hidden gem, 220 acres of trails, paved and grass trails. People come out and in the summer, obviously bike ride, walk the trails, run. In the winter, snowshoe, cross-country ski. Fun family activity, get you out in the winter. Sometimes people have a hard time finding things to do and enjoy in the winter, but this is a fun activity where we can get people out and discover the Oakdale Nature Preserve. Stop by the Discovery Center. We have a display room that's open business hours 8 to 4:30 Monday through Friday, also on the weekend hours. And kids can come in and we have plaster pods, different activities, touch tables, puzzles, lots of different fun things that'll keep them busy in the winter months. We've got trail maps as well that you can look at, and they'll kind of help you navigate the park as well. Lots of wildlife, lots of deer and lots of birds. Check it out, give us a call, stop in. Only $5 to rent the skis. We've got sizes for adults and kids. So it'd be a great opportunity to come out and get outside.
A Delwood couple with passions for real estate and wine were able to find the perfect spot in their town for a new business. Let's visit 7 Vines Vineyard and Winery with producer Mary Klein.
We started yesterday with the harvest, and then we're finishing today. Nice and sweet.
Look good.
It's critical if you want to be a really good winemaker to have a developed sense of taste and smell. You got to know what you're smelling and tasting and what that means.
It's really nice, actually. Oh, so I'll do this twice a day, more or less, for, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes. It doesn't take a whole hell of a lot.
So at this point, we're going to pump over this Cabernet here. We're going to do an aerative pump over, get some oxygen in it. Which is going to help the yeast ferment a little bit better, cleaner, happier.
What is your wine of choice?
I'm a Riesling junkie, more than anything.
Pretty good.
Feel that phenolic on the tongue? You want to try it?
Valley right here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
love this place.
This is the Marquette, and we have the Frontenac also.
And the Frontenac as well.
I like this one.
Yeah, I do too. I do too.
It's quite good.
Yeah, I think they'll do pretty well here.
Congratulations to them.
Yeah, nice work.
That's all we have time for on this month's show. Thanks for tuning in and join us again next month for another edition of Northeast Journal.